And mindfulness teaches us essentially how to float, how to observe thoughts as they pass without getting swept away by them. Welcome to Your Creative Mind. I'm Izolda Trachtenberg, and this podcast is all about using your innate creativity and mindfulness to build a life you love. Whether it's through writing, music, dance, theater, or any creative pursuit, we'll explore how to tap into your unique potential to transform your work, relationships, and daily life. Through inspiring conversations with world-changing artists, entrepreneurs, and innovators, or actionable insights in my solo episodes, you'll learn how to focus your energy, ignite your creativity, and bring more joy and purpose to everything you do. Hey there, and welcome to the Your Creative Mind podcast. I'm your host, Izolda Trachtenberg, and I'm so glad you're joining me today. If you've been a long-time listener, you know that I often talk about mindfulness and creativity, how they influence your work, your relationships, and really your sense of fulfillment. But something struck me recently. I've never taken the time to do a deep, intentional exploration of what these words actually mean. I mean, I use them all the time, but really, what is mindfulness? And what does it mean to have a mindful mind? And how does that influence the way you think, the way you create, and the way you interact with the world? So this is the first of a two-part series that I'm going to do just that. I'm going to explore mindfulness, what it is, how it shapes our thought processes, how it connects with both our conscious and our subconscious minds. And then in the next episode, I'm going to sort of dive into creativity, what that means, why it matters, and how mindfulness and creativity together can help you bring greater focus, greater joy, and a greater sense of presence, both at work and at home. So by the end of this episode, I'm going to try and give you a clear understanding of mindfulness, along with some cool techniques to help you build mindfulness skills in ways you may not have considered before. So if you've ever had that scattered feeling or been overwhelmed or disconnected, this is going to be for you. I think you're going to really enjoy this. So let's go ahead and get started. The way to look at this is there's a connection between mindfulness and your thought process. What do I mean by that? Well, I think it's about fundamentally shifting how we interact with our thoughts. So imagine your mind is like a river. Most of us spend our time swimming against the current. We're struggling to control every twist and turn. We're struggling to get a particular way, a particular part, a particular tributary. And mindfulness teaches us essentially how to float, how to observe thoughts as they pass without getting swept away by them. And I know in meditation, for example, one of the things that they say is, if you see a thought come up, let it float by like it's a cloud in the sky. Just kind of acknowledge it's there and let it go. And I know for me, that's really hard to do. It really is. I don't know how to do that in a way that feels substantive, and that works really well. And that's why I practice. I've been meditating every day for many years. And the beauty of that is that you don't have to be perfect at meditation or mindfulness in order for it to give you great benefits. So I want you to remember that. It's super important, because the way to look at it is, thoughts are going to sort of arise. And they're going to come consciously because of what you're doing and what you're thinking right now, but also from your subconscious. So our conscious thoughts are the ones we can control. They're problem solving, they're decision making, they're planning. But underneath the surface, the subconscious mind is constantly working. It's shaping our beliefs, our emotions, and really our behaviors. So when we practice mindfulness, we strengthen the bridge between these two places, for lack of a better word. We become more aware of our own subconscious patterns, and that allows us to respond rather than to react. And I say that the difference between reaction and response is the number of breaths you take between what happens and what you do about it. And that moment of breathing allows your subconscious mind to talk to your conscious mind, because your subconscious mind, I think, is aware of everything all the time. It really is. But you can't take in all of that data all the time. That's one of the things that happens, is you just can't take it all in. So what becomes important is to give yourself a moment for the subconscious mind to sort of bubble up the thing that's important. So by training that mindfulness, by training that awareness, by training that presence, you get to sort of step out of the automatic and sometimes really unhelpful thought loops and choose more, I guess, intentional and self-supporting ways of thinking. And that's how mindfulness becomes a really powerful tool, not just for stress reduction, which I believe it is, but also for creativity, for decision-making, and for personal and professional growth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to give you some cool techniques to strengthen, to build those mindfulness skills and to strengthen your ability to get in that place even when things around you feel jarring. So how are you going to do that? How are you going to build mindfulness in a way that sort of sticks with you? I'm going to give you these 3 techniques, and you might not have tried them before, and that's fine. I'm going to explain what they are, and I think it'll be helpful because each one is designed to help you sort of get to a deeper awareness and presence in your daily life without having to do a ton of work to get there. So the first one is I'm going to call sensory sort of layering. So we often experience the world one sense at a time. You see something or you hear it, then you touch it, and sometimes you smell it. Sensory layering, on the other hand, is a technique that trains your brain to engage multiple senses all at once. And that deepens your sense of presence and your sense of awareness. So here's what I want you to do. The next time you drink a cup of tea or coffee, don't just sip it. Instead, engage all your senses. Watch the steam rise. Maybe look at the color. Notice the color of whether it's coffee or tea. Listen to the sound of the cup settling on the table. Feel the warmth on your fingers or in your hands. Inhale the scent, and then finally taste it super slowly. By layering your senses, you bring yourself really sort of fully into the moment, and you build your skills. You strengthen your ability to stay present because you've taken the time to see it, to hear it, to smell it, to touch it, and to taste it. So try that and let me know how it goes. I'd love to hear it. All right, here's the next technique. This is, it's sort of a mindful mirror. That's the best way to say it. So, previous episode, I talked about your inner thoughts, your inner monologue, right? They call it self-talk. And often that inner monologue, it's going and you don't really notice it, but it can have a really huge effect on your mindset. So this technique's going to help you sort of become aware of that inner monologue and shift it towards a little bit more sense of self and a little bit more compassion for yourself. Ooh, I know. Self-compassion is a big part of mindfulness because you have to be willing to let go of all the things that you think you haven't done yet, or all the things that you haven't finished, or all the things that you're late on, or all the things you're in a hurry about. When you're mindful, that's not what the present moment is telling you, right? It's not all the things that you haven't done that you're about to do. It's where you are right now. So here's what I'd like you to do. I want you to go find a mirror and stand in front of it and take a look at yourself. Not to look at your appearance, not to look at, is your hair right, or is there anything between your teeth? No. You want to connect. You want to make eye contact with yourself. And then ask yourself, what thoughts are coming up? How do I generally speak to myself? And instead of judging what comes up or criticizing it, simply watch, listen, taste, smell, right? Here's the thing that you can be doing right now instead of judging yourself. You could just observe what's happening. And then you might introduce a phrase, like a mindful sort of statement or sentence that you can do. I am enough, I do enough, I have enough is one of the ones that I use for myself. You might use I am here, I'm enough, I'm present. See what that feels like. and practice this. Try it daily. Try to see if you can help sort of change your self-perception and create a more present relationship with you, with yourself. All right, here's another one that you can do. It's a sort of a thoughts garden, I guess. So just like if you've ever planted like basil or tomatoes or whatever, just like when you do that, when you tend to a garden, your mind will grow in the ways that you cultivate. So this technique is going to sort of gently nudge you to mindfully do some weeding, right? Weed out the thoughts that don't serve you and cultivate and nourish and nurture the ones that do. So every morning, I want you to take a couple of minutes to journal 3 different types of thoughts. The weeds, which I know one person's weed is another person's dandelion wine. I get it, but we're going to use the negative connotation of the word weed, an unwanted thing. So those are the negative thoughts that are holding you back. The seeds, these are the new ideas that you want to nourish and nurture. And the blossoms, sort of positive, maybe uplifting thoughts that you want to nourish. And try and see those 3 different types of thoughts. Like, what are the negative thoughts that are coming in that are holding you back? What are the ideas that you've wanted to try? And what are the positive ways that you can lift yourself up with affirmations like I am enough, or just, positive thoughts, happy thoughts, or maybe thoughts that make you feel good about yourself? Because this kind of practice is going to build that self-awareness about what's happening, how often you're doing these negative thoughts or the potential thoughts or the idea thoughts. And it's going to really bring about a much more intentional mindset. Because I guess the way to look at it is that mindfulness is not just about clearing your mind of thoughts or sitting silently for a bunch of hours. It's, in fact, not at all that. It's about developing almost a friendship, I guess, with your thoughts, a relationship with them. It's about observing them. It's about understanding them. And it's about choosing how to engage with them rather than having them sort of be your overlords. You don't want to be at their mercy. So I want you to bear that in mind, because when you nourish and nurture that mindful state of mind, you're going to create space for clarity, for focus, and ultimately for peace of mind. And that peace of mind is going to ripple really into other parts of your life and potentially into every part of your life, into your work, into your relationships, and even into your creativity. My sister says something very interesting about me as an artist. She said, Izolda, you're proof that you don't have to be an artist out of despair. You can be an artist out of joy. And it's true. Generally speaking, I am trying for balance, but generally speaking, I'm pretty joyful and balanced and even happy, I would say. So I'm not struggling. I'm not, what's the word? It's not starving artist. Like the things that they attributed to artists like Van Gogh, that you have to be this insane person in order to be a great artist. Not that I'm saying I'm a great artist, but I am saying that I don't think you need to be tortured. That's the word. I don't think you need to be tortured in order to be a good artist. So I want you to understand that as part of all this, mindfulness allows you this wealth, this unbelievable wealth of raw, inspirational stuff that is sitting in your subconscious. And if you are mindful and in that receptive, aware place, my goodness, you have access to it. So it's not just your consciousness or your conscious thoughts that you have access to. You have the almost limitless subconscious part of your brain and mind that you get access to when you're mindful. How cool is that? Right? I find that so amazing. So if you want to get some help in how to experience this, if this episode resonated with you at all and you want to bring some more mindfulness into your daily life, I would love to speak with you about it. Like, do you want to do a free complimentary 15-minute discovery call with me? We can talk about some of the specific challenges that you are going through and how you can start building these skills for a more balanced, fulfilling, creative life. So the link is in the show notes, and I would love to connect with you. Let me know. I would love to hear from you about this, and you can basically book this free call. And it would be a Zoom meeting, and we would see if I can get you started. And if you want to work with me, you can do that too. All right. This was so exciting. And I do want to remind you that this is just the beginning. This is part 1 of 2 that we just did, because in the next episode, I want to explore creativity, what it really means, how it works, and why it's so closely linked to mindfulness. I don't think you're going to want to miss it. Until next time, this is Izolda Trachtenberg for the Your Creative Mind podcast, reminding you as always to be bold, be creative, and most of all, be kind. Thanks so much for joining me today. I really appreciate you being here. Please subscribe to the podcast if you're new, and it would mean the world to me if you told a friend about it. Today's episode was produced by Izolda Trachtenberg and is copyright 2025. As always, please remember this is for educational and entertainment purposes only. Past performance does not guarantee future results, although we can always hope.